All right, let's try this again. Hi guys, my name is Jocelyn, and I feel kind of awkward doing this, but one of my goals for 2025 is to get back into my hobbies and do things that I like to do that's completely separate from my career, school, and things of that nature. Today is June the 2nd, and it's currently 11:40. I am outside on a walk with Winnie, our dog. She is 2.5 years old, and she's half Corgi, half mini Aussie. So if you hear a lot of random background noise, it's because we're outside. I feel awkward doing this video. It's more of a reintroduction, just because I feel like I have tried to film so many things since I was in high school, but I never followed through. And the content that I was making, I felt was just really random, not really put together really well. It was very rough. And I know that, we have creative freedom to do whatever we wanted, but I just wasn't really happy with how I was doing things, and I felt like I was oversharing, but I didn't feel relatable, and I just felt really awkward. But all in all, I do feel like I've learned quite a lot of things since, attempting to blog and vlog and make content in general. But I can definitely go into a lot of things in a lot more detail at a later time. One of my challenges for this specific piece of content is to limit myself with how much I'm talking, because I am not a great storyteller. I tend to beat around the bush a lot, and I tend to get distracted. So the challenge is this recording will end when I get back home with Winnie. So for however long she is willing to walk is however long I will be recording. This reintroduction is just a way for me to kind of start a new era, I guess you could say. I feel like since I've been recording bits and pieces of my life for many years now, but never really had the discipline or the courage to share this information online, I feel like I've kind of had just a constant conversation or monologue with myself and only myself. And so it feels kind of awkward to me, because I feel like I've been talking about my life for so long now, but the reality of it is no one knows anything about me or my life. And I've also learned throughout the years that there's beauty in keeping things to ourselves and being very intentional with what we share on the internet and what we choose to put out into the world. So I'm still learning how to obviously navigate all of this stuff. Yesterday I actually started my Substack. I've had the account for a couple months already, but I've never really looked into it or learned how to use it. So I kind of spent a good portion of my day yesterday working on that. I still have my blog. I still have my YouTube channel. I feel like I've gone through so many revamps that it's almost dizzying, because I cannot make up my mind on what I want to do, what I want to say. There's just so many options out there. The easiest thing that I can do is just to give you a brief update of what has happened and where I kind of plan to move forward. So like I said, today is June the 2nd. I actually just came back from a big family vacation for about a week. I had met up with a lot of my relatives in Mexico, and we had a lovely week spending time together. We're a very big group. There's I think 37 of us, so we really don't have a lot of opportunities to all meet up. So but we try to meet up at least once a year, if not once every other year, whether it be for the holidays or for summer vacation, just to spend time with one another and reconnect with one another. And I'm very proud to say that, all of us really value our family, and, we would rather spend time together than anything else. And I feel like we're very, very close, and I never realized how close our family was until we got older. We're really trying to just value our time with one another. Back in April, I finally graduated from physical therapy school. So your girl is a doctor, I guess. And for many of you, or all of you, I guess, my academic journey is quite a long one with many ups and downs. Part of the reason why I chose to start blogging in undergrad was so that I could capture my journey and really share my experiences with others. And I really felt that passion to share my experience when I was trying to get into PT school. Long story short, again, I'm more than happy to go into all of the details, or as many details as I feel comfortable sharing. I wanted to be a physical therapist since I was 16. Getting into undergrad, I decided to major in biology because life is full of uncertainties, so I didn't want to lock myself in on a major that I felt like did not meet my needs of potential careers if physical therapy didn't work out. So I thought biology, even though it was the harder route, it was the route that would meet my needs if I needed to pivot. So I ended up majoring as a Bachelor of Arts in biology with minors in chemistry and psychology. I graduated in 4 years. It was really, really hard. My first 2 years were really rough. It took me 2 years to get into physical therapy school, but I attempted 3 times. I had 0 interviews my first 2 years, and then my last year of applying, I had told myself that if I didn't get into PT school, then it just wasn't meant to be. My 3rd year of applying, I ended up getting 3 interviews, and I got accepted to 2 schools. So that was something that was extremely fulfilling. I was so excited to start this new journey because in undergrad, they tell you, the hardest thing is just getting your foot in the door. The hardest thing is just getting into school. What they don't tell you is all of the hard work, the turmoil, the anxiety. They didn't tell you how grueling the academic side of physical therapy would be. But I did pretty well my first year. My first year was probably my best year. I felt really good because my grades were so much better in PT school than they ever were in undergrad. But I kind of hit this wall, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I was really, really burnt out. I also ended up failing, quote unquote, a class in my last didactic semester, right before we had our last clinicals and then graduated. So I fought really, really hard to try and appeal my quote-unquote failing grade. It was not actually a failing grade. I ended up having like an 87 or higher in that class, and it was mainly because of new policy changes that had just started at the beginning of that term, which a lot of us felt like was very unfair, seeing as how it was our last didactic term. A lot of us were actually under a lot of pressure, and we were all so stressed and so anxious all the time. None of us felt like we were seen or heard, and we just felt like we had to defend ourselves. Like, faculty wasn't defending us, and I don't know, it was just like an uphill battle that whole term. But unfortunately, me and 5 other peers ended up having to retake either 1 or 2 classes because of this new policy. Whereas our predecessors or the cohort before us, like, they didn't have to worry about these terms, and they were able to graduate with no problems at all. Fast forward 8 months, I retook this class and I ended up passing. Not only did I pass, I ended up getting an A in this class, so I felt very accomplished. I felt redeemed. And then I moved into my rotations. My fall rotation was amazing. I was at a pediatric hospital. I got to see what it was like to be in the NICU, in the PICU, in the PCCU, to work with, transplant babies and all of the things, right? Like, this was my ideal workplace, and I loved it so much. Fast forward to my spring rotation, I got placed somewhere that was not really a place for me to grow. I felt like I could prove to myself that I can manage my own workload and be independent, but I felt like I didn't really have the mentorship that I was really looking for. And, that's fine. It's not a place for me. It's not a setting for me. I just found it a little unfortunate that I didn't fall back in love with the setting. When this was the setting that really helped me solidify my decision to get into physical therapy in the first place. And, at the end of the day, we graduated, and that was the main thing. I graduated in April, and then 3 or 4 days after graduation, I sat down for my boards. And unfortunately, I did not make the cut. I was so close. I was probably off by 2 questions, but that's okay, right? I was a little disappointed for maybe 12 hours, 24 hours, and a little numb to it all. But at this point in my career, I, nothing really phases me anymore, at least. So yeah, now I am studying mainly to pass my July boards, and hopefully from there I can really just focus on my future family, and really focus on the wedding and getting things done for that. because we are getting married at the end of this year. And a lot of adult things are happening, like looking into investing and property and the housing market and all these things. So, that was kind of a brief get to know me. I just got home, but I will just kind of briefly touch on my plans for the future of my socials and like my plans in general. I don't really have a concrete plan, and I think that's okay. I am just happy to share anything and everything. I do feel that I have a lot of passion for like helping people get into school and helping people get through school. But I really don't know what that looks like. I feel like a lot of what I would do would be more connected to like the emotional and mental wellness of everything. And then of course, like helping a lot of people try and get into school. I also feel like I would love to use my platform to really do something different. I've been in school my whole life. I've had this career goal, career dream my whole life for over 10 years now, and I really sacrificed a lot to get to where I'm at right now. I really didn't get to have that typical undergrad life and go out and party and like rediscover yourself. I was very narrow-minded and very tunnel vision on this one career goal. So obviously when things weren't working the way that I had hoped for, I felt very distraught and very, very, very not resentful of myself, but I just loathed the fact that I was not keeping an open mind, that I like pigeonholed or like put myself in this one box, and I just really struggled to pivot. So my hope is that I can use my socials and my platform to not only educate people or empower people, but to also find ways to rediscover myself and to just enjoy the little things in life, to find hobbies to get into, and to just really live authentically to who I am and who I want to be, versus trying to fit this mold of what others want me to be or what others think I should be. I really appreciate the time that you have spent to hang out with me and learn a little bit more about my story, and I hope that I can keep this up and fulfill this need and this want to just be creative and to inspire others. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.